The story starts with Amanda packing the suitcases while her husband Clay is still sleeping. He awakens and questions Amanda about her quick packing. She tells him she wants to go away from the city and its inhabitants for a spell. She rented a beach house this morning. Clay couldn't come up with an excuse, so they went for home with their children that day. The beautiful residence appears to be well equipped with all of life's basics. Kids utilize the swimming pool and Clay feels delighted to see them happy. Amanda soon leaves for the local market to get goods. When she returns, she hands Clay a cigarette pack. She wants him to have fun with all of the components of joy. Then they head for the beach. Amanda appreciates how few people are around. Their small kid, Rose, points out that there is a large ship at sea. They all see it but ignore it. Amanda and Clay settle down on the beach to consume their food. After a while, they all rest as Rose, who is still seeking for the ship, shakes them to let them know the boat is still moving. And it's probably not going to stop at the beach. Amanda awakens Clay and they all start rushing away. The ship comes to a halt only when it can no longer move through the sand. Security on the beach evacuated everyone, claiming that the ship's GPS was not working. They come home and Amanda opens her laptop to learn about the ship. However, the Wi-Fi could not connect and the television was also not working. They spot 2 deer on their yard and smile, believing it is a good sign. Amanda detects someone in the house while she and Clay play Jenga and consume beer that night. Someone then knocks on the door. They open the door and a man with a young lady presents himself as the house's owner. His name is G.H. Scott. They ask them to enter. Clay welcomes them in because it is freezing outside, but Amanda is hesitant. They tell them they are going to the city, but the entire town is blacked out, so they must spend the night here. Amanda claims that they can't allow them to invade their privacy because they hired the property for the entire weekend. She opens the laptop to submit a complaint with the corporation, but the internet and phone signals are turned off. Scott suddenly takes out a number of keys and struggles to open a drawer. It included both money and a weapon. He takes the money and gives Clay a $1,000 refund in exchange for allowing them to stay there. Clay accepts the money as Amanda becomes enraged. She takes Clay aside and scolds him for allowing them to stay there. She has serious suspicions that her father and daughter planned con. They don't look like house owners and all of the allegations concerning city blackouts appear to be made up. She informs him that she cannot sleep with them in the house. So Clay calms her down and heads inside to speak with Scott and Ruth. They notice that Scott is producing an excellent cocktail. Clay doesn't ask any questions, just picks up the cocktail and begins to enjoy it. However, Amanda begins to question Scott's knowledge of the house. Meanwhile, Ruth goes outside to get some fresh air. Amanda asks Scott to present any proof that this is their home. She inquires about his wife and requests her ID. He informs her that she is on a business trip and that he had forgotten her ID in his wallet at Symphony. Just as Amanda points out his untruth, the TV announces in a loud voice that all city lights are turned off owing to a national emergency. Clay believes it and enables Ruth and Scott to reside in the basement. Ruth despises the basement and wants to throw Amanda's family out immediately, but Scott reassures her that he will decide what to do next. Amanda, on the other hand, strongly believes Ruth interfered with her interrogation of Scott. She believes they are being lied to. Furthermore, she questions Clay as to why they did not inform them about the ship catastrophe. Amanda seems perplexed. At the same moment, the TV screen displays the notification that there is a global cyber attack. Rose awakens Amanda the next day and tells her she needs to watch the last season of Friends, but there is no internet. Amanda tells her to wait since there is a nationwide blackout. Rose goes outdoors and sits beside the pool, overcome with dread. She grinned when she saw the deer. However, a large number of deer suddenly cluster near the garden's perimeter. Amanda wakes up and prepares coffee for herself. Ruth arrives at the same time and asks if she can get the coffee, prompting them to inquire about Amanda and Clay's activities. Amanda says she works in advertising and Clay is a professor. Amanda spoke about the outage and saw caution warnings on her phone for a while. The warning was regarding a cybersecurity attack. Ruth suggests that hackers may have attacked the powerhouse, crippling the entire system. Scott comes just in time and inquires about the latest developments. Amanda explains that Clay went to town to get news. He hopes the cyber attack will be nothing like the one in the 2000s when 2 kids from the Philippines sent a bug with the subject, "I love you," in emails, causing numerous firms to shut down. Amanda is uneasy and excuses them to go see Archie. Ruth and Scott stand by the window. They're concerned that they've lost contact with Maya, Scott's wife, and Ruth's mother. The cyber attack is a disaster, and Ruth is becoming increasingly paranoid, making the problem appear even larger. At the same time, Clay drives the car, hoping to encounter someone who is aware of what is going on, but no one appears. On the other side, Rose informs Archie that she noticed a number of deer this morning, as if they were trying to communicate something. Archie was stalking Ruth and ignored whatever she said. Scott gets into the automobile to learn about the situation in town. He notices a house that appears to have been abandoned with everything scattered inside. The windows are broken. When Clay notices a lady screaming, he stops his automobile. Rose and Archie venture into the bushes to discover where all the animals have gone. On the other side, Scott notices a radio box in the house and attempts to receive signals. Clay doesn't comprehend what the distraught lady is saying in Spanish. Rose and Archie watch an abandoned cabin and go inside to see what's within. The Spanish lady attempts to explain, but Clay doesn't understand, so he drives forward. The lady is hammering on the car and crying. While walking on the beach to see if anyone is nearby, Scott discovers a watch. When he pulls it from the sand, it is accompanied by a human hand. He collapses and discovers a dead human body on the beach. At the same time, many papers fly towards Clay's car. He raced his automobile home. While an airplane nose dives into the sand in front of Scott, he barely escapes with his life by sprinting into the home. Ruth and Amanda sit on the beach and wait while Rose and Archie decide to return. Rose notices a deer, but it flees away before she can show it to Archie. Scott returns home wearing drenched clothes. He sends Ruth to collect his clothing and informs Amanda that with the market uncertainty, he senses that something unexpected is coming. In response to Amanda's inquiry, he reveals that he has not seen a single person alive. Ruth, hiding behind a wall, attempts to listen as he believes someone has knocked off the satellite system in space when a supersonic boom suddenly begins. Amanda rushes out. The noise subsided after a while and her children joined her. They return home and Archie mentions that he is dizzy. Amanda tells both of her children to go to their rooms and change. Amanda confronts Scott after they leave, demanding to know what he knows about the event. Scott asks her to wait until Clay returns. But she is not willing to wait and informs him loudly that if he sees a jet crash due to a faulty satellite system, a major tragedy is imminent. Ruth gets up to leave because she is concerned about her mother, who is about to return to a Long Island after a flight. The door suddenly opens and Clay enters. He hands them a note that reads, "Death to America." They speculate that America is being attacked. So they leave in their car for New Jersey, where Amanda's sister resides. After they leave, Scott assures Ruth that the plane he saw crashing was not the one her mother was on. Rose hears sirens roaring while Clay drives outside the city. They had to halt their car due to a traffic block. Amanda notices that all of the cars are driverless Teslas. Suddenly, she instructs Clay to get into the car and speeds away. Because of the faulty satellite system, the automobiles are automatically driving and colliding with one another. Amanda barely drives her car safely to Scott's house again. Amanda asks Clay that night to devise an escape plan because they can hear the bomb. Archie is sweating in his room, but Clay decides to sit with Ruth and smoke marijuana as the bombs sound. Amanda and Scott have a drink and converse. She admits that she dislikes people and feels sorry for Scott because his job requires him to be around them all of the time. But she admits that she has come to like him. When Amanda insists, Scott tries to explain why they came there. Scott has a buddy and client in the Defense Department of the Pentagon. Many years ago, he sat with him and drank until late. After becoming intoxicated, that man once invited him to attend the yearly gathering of world's most biggest terrorist or criminal syndicates with the world's leaders. Amanda becomes terrified after hearing that and wishes to leave. But Scott interrupts her and informs her that the same acquaintance contacted yesterday and wanted him to send a large sum of money. He did not laugh at any of his jokes. He simply told Scott to care for himself. He does not believe that any important people are responsible for what is going on in the world. It is something else. Rose goes to meet Archie and wonders if they have any hope of getting out of this dilemma. She really wants to watch the last season of Friends. Clay tells Ruth the truth. He encountered a disturbed lady on his route. Ruth wants to know what else he knows. Clay describes the damaged ship on the beach. He explains that he didn't want to scare anyone by addressing it. Suddenly, they hear a splash. Many flamingos fall into their pool. While Amanda is in the lounge, Scott takes her to his record collection in an attempt to restore her good mood and win her back. He wants to play jazz, but Amanda has chosen another disc. They danced and hugged together. Amanda reminds him that they are married and cannot be much closer. Scott expresses his love for his wife and his frustration that he will never see her again. The situation is quite perilous. It suddenly sounds like a bomb and the supersonic boom begins again. Flamingos fly away from the pool and the lights fail. Amanda and Clay sleep in the same bed as their children. She thinks Archie has a fever. Rose is still awake and tells her mother a story about a man who always prayed for his safety. When the town flooded, a boat and a helicopter arrived to save him, but he declined their assistance because he wanted God to come and save him. The man dies, and in heaven he complains to God about not helping. God says he sent all three assistants, but the man didn't recognize them. Rose informs her mother that they have provided enough warnings and that their time is over. Ruth is terrified and asks her father to sleep with her. She says she doesn't trust Amanda because she's unpleasant, Clay wants to be close to her, Rose is weird, and Archie takes improper photos. After hearing that, Scott swears to save her in every case. However, Ruth advises her father that allowing the family back into the house is a mistake. The next day, Rose was already up and out of the home. Amanda asked Archie to wake up now that his fever was gone. He gets out of bed and pulls his teeth one at a time. Amanda becomes quite terrified and begs him to stop. They sit in the living room while Archie tells them he was bitten by an insect outside. He believes this is the reason his teeth are shedding. Amanda doesn't know what to do. She immediately wants to contact a doctor. Scott relaxed and told her he was going to the contractor to see if he had any meds. He does not believe they will find any doctors. They suddenly realize Rose has been missing for a time. Amanda rushes to find her and Archie starts vomiting. So Scott and Clay take him to see someone who can help him. Ruth didn't want Scott to leave her alone, but he promised to return in an hour. Ruth sets out to find Rose and Amanda after they leave, but they were unable to contact her. They are sitting in a cabin near the house when Ruth advises her to return home. Amanda yells at her. Ruth is saddened that Amanda doesn't care that she is alone. Probably her mother is dead someplace outside. Amanda apologizes, stating that she understands what she is going through, but her work required her to study the evil in people. So she despised them, but she never intended to be that way. They leave the cabin, but Amanda realizes Ruth has nowhere to go. She notices that deer encircle Ruth. Scott, on the other hand, approaches the contractor and threatens to shoot them if they get near his property. When the contractor refuses to help, Scott pulls out his revolver. But Clay steps in between them, pleading for help for his son. The contractor believes that Archie's teeth fell out due to microwave radiation. Amanda approaches Ruth and shouts at Deer. Deer do not flinch at first, but eventually run away. Amanda tears as she hugs Ruth. Because any money is useless, he accepts it and offers Archie some drugs. Ruth informs Amanda that animals are attempting to communicate with them, but she comes to a halt when she notices something. Scott sits in the car after getting the prescription and tells Clay that he predicted this, but he now understands what is going on. The enemy uses 3 tactics to destabilize and collapse a country. First, they disrupted communication by disconnecting all networked and satellite connections. Then they spread misinformation and turmoil to pit people against one another. The third stage, civil war, has now begun. Ruth came to a halt to look at the ashes and fire clouds left by the city's explosions. The country is being attacked. Rose, on the other hand, visits a nearby residence in search of a better location. She eats and investigates the various rooms in the house. Suddenly, she discovers a metal door. She opens it with great force and turns on the lights. It is an underground bunker designed for such eventualities. The bunker contains plenty of food and communication systems. The screen indicates that the country is under attack and that people should seek safe cover nearby. Rose went through the DVD collection and pulled out the DVD of the sitcom Friends. She happily settles down to play her final season. The film ends here.